Hey there YouTube, welcome to part 2, and we can see the Headway pack, or the lights have turned off, and the Headway pack is at 12.17 volts. You can see 203 watt hours. Let's see, amp hours are 15.7. Yeah, 15.76. And so what this guy does when you've reached 3 volts per cell, you can see there they're pretty darn close. You can see that as soon as it flips over, we've got 1, 3, and 4, sometimes 2, turning on to keep the cells down to 3. So it's going to balance the ones that are still over 3. And if all 3 are on, it will turn on the light. And notice how it's dimming this one. Oop, that's still hot. Dimming it up and down to bring it down. So yeah. That seems to work pretty darn good, and all these cells are actually still pretty close in voltage. You can see they're at 3 volts. This thing's balancing current isn't all that high, so none of the cells actually dropped out really quickly. So yeah, 203.6 watt hours and 15.756 amp hours. Not bad. So, as I promised in the last video, I will talk about the other little doohick bob from AOKoda. Let me adjust the tripod legs down. And first off, oh, yes, that'll be after. You can see this guy. Bring it down a little more. There we go. So, comes in the little box. I got this one from AliExpress. Well, this and the discharge board. Same seller. I'll put a link in the description, because this would be the CX610. There's also a 605, which is just less current. We've got 0.1 to 1 amp charging, whereas a 605 would be 0.1 to 0.5 amps. So what is it? It is a 6-cell charger. You can see these two are just 2 different connectors, and they're in parallel. And then these 2 are in parallel, and these 2 are in parallel, so it's 1, 2, 3 ports there. And another 3 on the other side. Got 2 buttons, a display, some LEDs. You've got a USB Type A and a USB micro. And on the bottom, nothing. And on this side, you've got an XT60 and a DC barrel jack, which is, what, 3mm? I think. At least on the outer dimension. So this thing can actually be powered by a there we go. Let's see. Nine to 26 volts there. Or 3 to 6 cell lithium ion pack. So you can charge your mini packs, which is what these little connectors are. You got an micro CPX and an MCX connector. And I actually happen to have a bunch of these little guys for my helicopter. I've got a, let me show you. Blade MCX2. Which is a little mini helicopter, which is pretty fun. Got this from my dad a long time ago. And another thing, this doesn't take the same kind of batteries. Its battery is internal. It's a little X20 pocket. But actually, I can charge all of the helicopter's batteries and that little quad with this guy, because it has the 6 ports. I have 5 batteries and the USB port. So yeah. Let's power it up. Grab the charger here and power it up. There we go. And you can see it's got a USB. I also have a cable here. This is actually the same cable I use for my big power bank and jump starter, the DB Power 600 amp. So that just is this guy here. Focus. That's just about it. So I can plug that in. And that's coming straight from the power supply down there, which is a voltage hacked Dell power supply. And go through the settings here. First, we can hold the A button, and we can change the current, whoops, down to 0.1 or up to 1. I'll put it to 200 milliamps, and we can hold the V button to change it to 2 modes. Whoops. It can be DC or battery. DC would be you're hooking it from power supply, and battery would be from a 6-cell, 3 to 6 cell battery. So we'll go to battery, and we can see it's automatically detected 14.8 volts. Whoops. It is telling me it's low. And you can adjust the voltage down to where it will stop at. And it thinks it's a 4-cell battery, so it'll limit you to a 4-cell voltage range, which is from 16 to 12. I'm going to put it down to 12.6 and press A, and it thinks it's a 4-cell. And we can start charging batteries. And it will read you the voltage on each one. Are these right? Or are these the other way around? Whoops. There we go. There we go. I think these connectors are a little bit loose. There we go. So 3, 4, 4.2, 5, 4.2, 6, 4.2. All the cell, the input voltage, and looks like number 3, which is this one, is low. 2 is 414, 3 is 4.2, so this one's a little low. So I think this one actually has some self-discharge. Because, yes, this is the one that was puffy, and I actually fixed it. What I did is I heated it up. I cut a small slit in the back empty part of it without touching any of the plates, warmed it up, and then put some nail polish, clear nail polish, and then let it sit for the nail polish to dry as it was warm, and then cooled it off. So the gas shrunk inside. So now it's under a vacuum. Probably be better to have it under a vacuum chamber, which will be solved soon. It's pretty easy to make a vacuum chamber. And so, what does it actually have inside? Well, if I was looking at the current that it was drawing, we would be able to tell. Well, probably not, because the cells are mostly full, but we will open it up. Oh, it's screwed in. Darn it. Sorry about this. Just 2 screws. You can see. So on the top side, you can see it looks really nice. We've got the XT60 input going as a right angle, basically the same thing on the 150 watt discharge board. We've got the barrel jack. It's like a filter capacitor. 2 MOSFETs there, and a big inductor. Big square chunky inductor, 7-segment display, 3 different capacitors at 470 microfarads, 6 volts. Oh, there's 4. And all of these are on the 5 volt rail inside, because we follow the rail and it goes directly to the USB port. And we can see the micro B port on its input with a diode to the big rail. We can see over here that the charging port does not have any type of smart circuitry. Those are the 2 data lines. So this will not charge any smart devices like my iPhone. It just won't do anything. We can see some resistors here and 2 LEDs per channel. So let's flip it over, and what we don't see are any inductors on each side, but plenty of ground plane, shiny ground plane too. So these are actually zoom in there. TC4056A. So they're like a TP4056. And you can see we've got a little transistor there, probably on the resistor pin, or at least the enable pin, something like that. We can see some extra capacitance over here. Oh, there's actually a 470 ohm resistor to the USB output port. That's interesting. And we can see a microcontroller, which has no number. And there is an Atmel chip on there. 24CO2N. And a CE chip. Oh. Too bright. Oh, I changed the brightness way up. No, I didn't. What is that? Can't even read it on the camera. No, I'll probably find data sheets if I can. What is that, a 7550? So it's a 5-volt regulator. That's probably from the main positive input with a diode. Is that the reverse polarity protection diode? That's not going to do anything. Oh well. Focus in right, get the right white balance there. So, interesting circuit there. Looks like there's a switch there that could be mounted there, but they opted for a little resistor. Anyway, let's see what kind of current that this can output through the A port. Because it can. Let's see, I had a USB cable. So they say you can't use the type A port with the micro, but you actually can, because they're just wired directly together. But you can see there on the data lines, there's absolutely nothing. You can see there, it does drop down pretty low, but there's 2 amps there. But there it glitches out, 2.3 amps. And it does drop off pretty hard with that diode and also that resistor there. But let's take out that USB and put in the DC in, and it actually shuts off completely, so that way you can't drain the pack. There we go, bring it down to, whoops, 12 volts. Now it turns back on. So it actually turns on all the TP4056s, or the TC4056s. And 1, 2, 3, there, 4 amps. You're probably cooking that little resistor. No, not really. So there's 4 amps from it. But the only problem is it's a, whoa, hey, battery's done. First time that's happened on video. But this seems to be a pretty powerful buck converter there. And let's see what finished. The 3-cell pack there. Those are actual ICR 18650 26Ds from Samsung. We got 6856. So 6.6 amp hours, that's pretty good. You can see the balance there. Looks like cell 3, the most positive, were high, so these are lower than the other ones. So, that's my review of this. They really should have left the smart stuff on this, because otherwise that USB port is pretty much useless. So, I will contact the seller and ask them why the USB port doesn't work to charge my iPhone, because my iPhone is my camera. We'll see what happens. If not, they might send me another, then I'll have two. Because I can just use the cables and actually charge other cells. Oh, because it comes with a bunch of different connectors. Comes with this plug, which is the larger JST sort of thing, to this, which has the little flat pins, and also to JSTs for charging like FPV things. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you like this overview. Actually, I've still got the thing going a little bit. I think it's pretty much done. 204.1 watt hours and 15.8 amp hours. So there's the Headway pack. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys are having fun, and I'll see you next time.